I found out I was pregnant, but my mother-in-law told my husband that I might have cheated since my mom is a single desperate woman who gets around, so he packed my bags, kicked me out, and said to return in 9 months with our baby and a paternity test. 2 weeks later, he called me in tears after overhearing a shocking conversation his mother had on the phone and begged me to reconcile, but then I gave him this news. My husband Clark and I, both 27, are currently in the process of getting a divorce, and I just found out that most of it is happening because his mother has been poisoning him against me. He and I started dating 4 years ago and got married 2 years back, and for the past year or so, we've been trying for a baby. But unfortunately, we haven't been very lucky there. In spite of our consistency, I haven't been able to get pregnant yet, and it has taken its toll on our marriage. Neither of us wanted to entertain the idea that maybe one of us was infertile, so we just kept trying and didn't discuss the pregnancy thing too much. But the frustration took form in other fights. We would get into a lot of petty, irrelevant fights about small stuff recently. Things were pretty strained between the two of us, but then about a month ago, I found out that I was finally pregnant after a really long time of trying. At first, both of us were really happy. We threw a party to announce it to everybody and things were going well. But for some reason, after the party, we started acting very weirdly and differently. I couldn't put my finger on it, but all of a sudden he had started shutting me out and becoming very distant. No matter how hard I tried, he just wouldn't tell me what his problem was. Then one day I told him that it wouldn't work if he just kept pushing me away while I was pregnant. I said I'd rather just go stay with my mom if he was going to keep acting like this. That set him off. He started yelling at me like crazy. He told me that he would rather have me sent away as well because he didn't even want to see my face anymore since it only annoyed him. He kept saying that I was just like my mom and he should have known. When I asked him what on earth that was supposed to mean, he told me that he knew it wasn't him who managed to get me pregnant. It must have been somebody else because he, as far as he knows, is infertile. He got himself tested a couple of weeks after finding out that we were pregnant because it seemed a little too sudden. Now he couldn't bring himself to trust me and asked me to get out. I tried to reason with him because, of course, I know I haven't cheated on him, but he was too upset to hear me out. I couldn't deal with this anymore, so I just packed my stuff as quickly as I could and got out of there. I had finally snapped that day. I knew that I couldn't go back to this guy since he literally told me I could only come back after a paternity test or else I could just stay away. So I spoke to my mom. I've been staying with her and I've also spoken to a lawyer. I filed for divorce. But now all of a sudden he wants to stop the divorce proceedings. Basically, he just found out that the results from the fertility test he had received had been falsified thanks to his mom. I'm not surprised she did something like that. She's always had it in for me right from the first day. She and my mom used to know each other since they had a couple of common friends, and she did not like my mom. When she was younger, she used to be a bit of a party animal. According to my mother-in-law, that meant my mom was a woman of loose character who used to get around without ever committing to anyone and implied that even now she's probably gone back to her old ways since she's been single ever since my father passed away a couple of years ago. I'm not making this up, these are things she has actually said to me. Since then, I haven't spoken to my mother-in-law. This happened shortly after my wedding when my mother-in-law and I got into an argument about something. She just said all these horrible things about my mom. So I told my husband that he could keep in touch with her if he wanted to, but I wasn't going to. Clark did scold his mom a little for being so nasty about it, but eventually he did keep in touch with her. I should have left him then and there because it's very clear that he did not respect me or my family even back then. If he had respected me, his mom wouldn't have been able to influence him so easily because apparently from whatever I've been told, she is the one who planted the idea in his head that I might have cheated on him because at the end of the day, I still am my mother's daughter. That's why he felt the need to get a fertility test after telling his mom that I was pregnant. Unfortunately, his mom was able to convince him to get himself tested at her brother's clinic. Clark got duped by his own mother and uncle because they ended up falsifying the results just to start trouble between us, and he fell for it. A couple of days ago, he saw some conversations between his mom and his uncle on her phone. That's how he found out the truth. Now he's cut his mother off and he's begging me to come back, but there's no way that's happening. 2 weeks have already passed since I was kicked out, and I just can't imagine going back to him after everything that happened yesterday. It has become very clear to me that he doesn't trust me. And I don't think I can stay in a marriage with no trust at all. The fact is that regardless of whatever his mother told him, he doubted me and thought I was cheating on him, and I've been feeling terrible about it, so I don't want to go back. I've spoken to my friends about this. While they do agree that it was really stupid of him, they think I need to consider things from his perspective as well. At the end of the day, he did receive those test results and anybody in their right mind would obviously believe them instantly. He might have been struggling with what to do with that information as well because it's not like he then immediately kicked me out. It took him a couple of weeks before he got triggered when I mentioned my mom. So they think it must not have been an easy decision for him either. They say I need to give him the benefit of the doubt, at least for a little while. Besides, it's pretty clear that my mother-in-law has been poisoning him against me and my mom for years, so that was bound to have some effect. No matter what I do now, I can't change my mom's past. She was who she was. It's not like I'm embarrassed or ashamed of her. But the fact remains that most people wouldn't look too kindly upon that lifestyle because it's true she was with a different guy every weekend when she was younger. I'm not saying this to shame her, it's just how it was, and she herself has admitted it. Of course, that doesn't give Clark or his mom the right to shame her for it either, but they are entitled to their own opinions. I just think it's weird for them to paint me in the same light even though he's known me for years now. Anyway, I'm just confused because at the end of the day he did receive those test results, and if I were in his place I'd feel kind of iffy about it as well, but still don't think I want to give him another chance at this point. So Ida, if I want to get a divorce from my husband? Edit, I didn't mention this because it's not exactly relevant in my situation, but yes, Clark is suing his uncle and his clinic. What they did was a serious violation and they're going to get into a lot of trouble for that since he has proof. He has all those screenshots from his mom's phone, and I'm hoping he'll make them pay for it. The two of them teamed up and ruined our marriage. They totally deserve whatever's coming their way. It's shocking how much risk his uncle took helping his mom ruin our marriage because I didn't think anyone from his family apart from her would hate me so much, but apparently that's not how it is.